Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. It's Tuesday night. Glad to have you here. And thank you to all our listeners who tuned into my interview earlier with Monsters Lounge. Very much appreciated. Geraldine Orozco will be here momentarily to talk about all things weird and strange. Dirty Filth is here with another cartoon, and the best part about it all, so are all of you. Let's say hello to Race Fan in the gold medal position, SJ with a silver, and Tim Mothman and his goatee with a nice bronze medal tonight. Abbott Hoffman, Robert Lamoth, Michael Morris, Dino Bravo. Good to see you all. Hi, Carrot in the Woo Train, Chris 716, Stephanie Kenny Blankenship. Thank you all for coming on in. And there's Ozzy Ange. Ozzy Ange will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Michael Fontaine and Les Paul Holland, nice to see you both. Cosmic Joe, Leafy Nebula, T-Bone, my man. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Brown Dwarf, number 39 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson, there he is. 420 Anon, how are you? Welcome to SOR Chat. As we continue with roll call. Wild Berry, Mama Catherine. Mwah! I love you, my dear. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Kurt M., thank you for joining us as we continue on with our roll call here. And who else is next? Let's say hello to Kathy Evans and Mark Sanchez and his collection of Hawaiian shirts. Good to have you here. And who else is here? Laura Lobbs, how are you? And, oh, Geraldine's hair looks great tonight. I'm not going to lie. It looks fantastic. She's blushing already. Eternity Eternal is back. Eternity Eternal will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. The lovely and talented Kira, thank you for coming on in. And remember, you only have 8 days left to get your VIP packages for our Reno event. So make sure you go on and get that at info@spacedoutradio.com. info@spacedoutradio.com. It is May 10th through 12th this year, just a month and a half away. That's it. Let's get you there. Little Cam over on Twitch. Good to see you. Magnus Ver Magnuson, Millennium, my man, Bar Madison. Thank you all for coming on in. Aloha, Dave. Thank you for joining us. Very much appreciated. Susan Lawrence, the pride of Indiana. Thank you for coming on in on Facebook. Thomas Rock, Zed Hut. Been a while. Nice to have you here. Nikki in Seattle. Good to see you. Rock and Rory. Good to have you here. Hi, Digger Dog and the Ferret. River Morris. Good to see you. And Amy, Vegas. Oh, how you doing, beautiful? Good to see you. All right. Who else do we have here? We have Deidre. Good to see you. Good BC kid, that Deidre. And what in the Out of This World Expresses does a Dave scented candle smell? I believe it's lavender. I think it's lavender or vanilla, one of the two. Got to go to our store and pick one out. Ozzy, Carrot in the Woo Train, I already said, but good to see you again. Scrolling on down, Asteroid, thanks for joining us. And Gizmo, my man, Vash the Impaler, Vanessa, Christine Lynn, good to see you all. Let's get the radio side going, shall we? Hello and welcome to the podcast and radio side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. It's the Spiritual You with Geraldine Orozco. We're going to have a great show talking all things spiritual and a little bit of aliens sprinkled on top. And we await Bill WD-40 to come on in and lube us up for tonight's show. We are in roll call. There's Bill, currently lubing up as we speak. Jerry Elmore, how are you? Good to see you. And who else is next on our list? JSCO. Thanks for coming on in. The lovely T. Tui. Nice to see you. And who's next on our list here? Looking on down. We are caught up. Yep, we are caught up. Reminder to all of you, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people, and the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you for your generosity. All right, I'm warmed up. I hope you are too, because it's time to throw those horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show planned for you tonight. It's all about aliens. It's all about spirituality. The lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco will be here momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton is here from Among the Missing. Follow that up. Travis William-Mustus will have the Cryptid Report. Let's get right down to it. Geraldine Orozco, her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. She researches the role of DNA as the currency of the past, present, and future, with consciousness as the catalyst. A life-changing experience in 2013 resulted in the activation of her psychic abilities. Then in 2017, she underwent several hypnotic regressions with vetted therapists to find out what was going on. She uncovered a lifelong history of alien abduction and participation in human hybridization. Her life now is dedicated to the dissemination of knowledge of hybridization programs and the correction of the commonly held dogma of the human genetic timeline, historical record, and human structure. But here, she's just one of us. She hangs out, she kicks her feet up, and she just relaxes. Geraldine Orozco, it's always good to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How are you? I'll get you to unmute your microphone if you don't mind. That would be helpful.
That would be helpful. Hello. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you again so much.
You know what I love about you is every month when you were on this show, you were in a different room. Now we see a rounded bookcase that's square, beautiful paintings of flowers, and you're looking lovely as ever.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How you been?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be back. And happy to see all you guys in the chat. And Dave, wonderful again. Excited to jump into the topics tonight.
Well, I can tell you, because you always ask me for an update of what's going on.
Yeah.
I weighed myself on the weekend.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
I am down 18 pounds, and I'm going to tell you, I am sick of drinking water, but I'm afraid to drink anything else because I'm afraid to balloon back out. And I'm feeling actually pretty darn good. Everything seems to be clicking, although I'm not having as much ET contact as I normally do. So that's kind of weird. But then again, I don't know if you've figured this out or not in the people that you and your social circles run with, but I am hearing from my sources that a lot of people out there are not having a lot of ET contact in 2024. The interventions and the interactions seem to be going down a little bit. Have you heard this as well?
Wow. No, in fact, I've heard the absolute opposite of this. Um, and I think things are ramping up in a different way, though, in a more integrated manner. I think that contact is becoming deeply integrated. And, what I notice about contactees is that there's a more grounded connection to the kind of experiences that they're having. There's more lucidity in dream state. Dreams are extremely vivid. The memories of those dreams are vivid, and their connections to what they're interacting with is becoming clearer and clearer. And I'm noticing that across the board with my clients that are contactees, and also clients that are not that are contactees. So it's very interesting to see this, but I think energetically this year has brought a tremendous acceleration, if you could say, of awareness, of interdimensional awareness, both for the body, a sense of deeper sensitivity as well, I notice.
That surprises me because the person I usually turn to, Samantha Mowat, she usually gets contact anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 times a week.
Uh-huh.
And she has only had contact 6 times this year. And the beings are telling her that they are getting a little afraid with how unruly the earth is getting right now. And she's having troubles gaining her contact.
That's interesting. But again, I also want to mention contact is very personal. Each
Yeah.
filter that we have, each subconscious belief system about contact and about interdimensionality that we have, even fears and anxieties and perceptions about the world, they will taint the way we see and experience contact. So it's really important to try to de-filter ourselves from any subconscious blocks, fears, anxieties that we might have, so that we can start to kind of have a more open awareness. Because let me tell you, what is also changing is the way that contact is happening. I think maybe a lot of us are kind of stuck on a certain way that contact has to present itself to us. But contact now is actually happening. It's in a way less, it has less form, less definition, and it's coming in as more as channeled integrated awareness, I think. And I think humanity is really starting to experience um, just the awareness that there is something beyond, and that people are invited to sit in meditation to kind of explore, what that looks like for you. What does that feel like for you? And it's important to activate our intuition, our 5 senses, to be able to tune into these different realms of information. So I think that many people are changing in the way that they're translating these contact experiences. People also channeling information, not just channeling like conceptual information, but art, channeling, creatively channeling information like light language that comes in form of art or creations. And then dream time is also really passing some very important messages to humanity, I think. So I think the nature of contact is transforming in a way that is more tangible by humans. This is something that I observe, but of course it's very different for every human.
Okay, so if that is going on, could it maybe be who is contacting you? Because look, the alien species that are contacting me or contacting some of our listeners or contacting Samantha or yourself, they're all going to be different. We never seem to get the same aliens, you know? And so could it be different species then that are pulling away for right now?
I what I'm noticing is that actually we are receiving higher bands of frequency. That means that we have access to more interdimensional manifestations of consciousness. But what that requires is the human to catch up. Okay. And that's really important right now. We're kind of going through a major opening and evolutionary transformation where every human is now like a radio dial that's learning how to tune into different frequencies and codes depending on the food that they're eating, the habits that they have, especially their emotional habits and their programs that they're running in the back end will either block or limit their access to certain frequencies collectively, or it will enhance them to be able to access that information. So, right now, the less form, the less identity, the less personality we try to hold on to, the less old self and identity of the old world that we try to cling on to, the less defined concepts that we try to grasp, the easier it's going to be to have these kinds of communications and to translate this kind of very etheric communication through the physical body. And I think it's very much an integration process that it requires cultivation of the body as an instrument of communication with interdimensionality. When we talk about collective frequencies activating, we're talking about the DNA of the earth. The DNA of the earth is activating. Solar flares, which are heightening in their activity over the past couple of years tremendously, are shifting the way that we hold frequency on the earth collectively. And so every single human, because the sun is deeply connected to the heart, every single human is receiving some kind of genetic upgrades in the way that they have the ability to process higher bands of frequencies, which means that in dream time, specifically for people that are less unconscious, dream time will be their most active time. This will be the time where there will be traveling, integrating, and moving. It's important to activate the memory recall process in this spiritual evolutionary journey. And we can activate memory recall by training ourselves to be completely present in the moment so that we can begin to consciously connect with our activities so that when we go into dream state, we remember more of our dreams. It's very important. This will allow you to train the body to begin to receive higher bands of frequency so that when you encounter beings, aliens, spirits, souls, these entities that you're interacting with in out of body experiences, you actually can hold space and remember the event rather than forget. Because there's a disconnect that's happening for a lot of humans that because of the turmoil that's happening in the world, we are fighting against the two parts of us getting entangled with the physical realm, with what is material, with what is happening externally, and we're fighting with the part of us that needs to really connect up into the non physical aspect of ourselves. And those are two frequencies that clash in the body. So this will block your ability to access this information. We have to align both of those parts of you. You have to create a vessel in which you can access this information, and then allow that information to flow non judgmentally. Fears are the number one reason why people lose memory. Trauma, you lose memory. So try to gently bring yourself into a more, harmonized state of being, and that will help you flow with these collective shifts that we're moving from. It's imperative that we do that.
Okay, I got to ask you just to back up a second there because you said something that was kind of profound to me in regards to the experiences people are having and how it affects everybody individually. When we have that contact and when we go into that dream state, I'm somebody, if I use myself as an example here, I'm somebody who doesn't remember their dreams. I know when I'm taken because I see aliens in my dream state. I can remember that. And I've learned to translate that into it's not a dream. It's just a facade of what's truly going on. And when I know a number of people, and I've talked to number of people who have had that as well. But for the people who may not understand and have more recall on their dreams, how do we know that it's not just a dream, but something a little bit more realistic?
Yeah, well, we've kind of been programmed in a misinformed manner to think that dreams are just, convoluted concepts of the mind that is just venting daily experiences. However, although that is true to a certain extent, In fact, our life as a multidimensional out of body entity is extremely super active. In fact, it takes half of our lives that we spend in dream time, in sleep. And when we are in sleep, there are certain mechanisms to this organism. Because of the nature of the construct of our biology, we are vortices that never stop spinning. And when we rest the physical body, this vortex begins to move in a different manner, in alignment with natural circadian rhythms of the earth, because the mind is out of the way. And so naturally, we leave the body, we begin to enter, or the consciousness, the essence, the awareness leaves the body and travels into higher dimensional planes. Every single human is experiencing them. Whether they remember that or not is a different story. And that really depends on the user ability. Okay, so we kind of have to really understand how to utilize this instrument of the physical body. In order to, one of the signs of advanced spiritual evolution is that you remember. That is one of the signs of spiritual awakening. Do you remember who you are? Who are you? Well, you're an infinite potential. And in order to translate that infinite potential, you have to remember a lot of the parts. You have to first remember who you are in this current lifetime, be aware of how you've become who you are in this moment, your programs, traumas, fears. That is the first memory that you have to recover. The second memory that you have to recover after that is begin to remember your past lives. That's essential. And in between these two workshops of understanding yourself is the recovery of dream state, because what you're going to notice is that time is not linear but rather spherical, which means that the access into past lives is through the dream state. This is why hypnosis is such a powerful tool, that you can actually access your past lives and interdimensional lives and even future lives, even alien lives, human lives that you've had, that you can remember and recall. All of that is part of DNA activation. So we want to begin to do that by, first of all, deprogramming limiting belief systems, because one of the reasons why we can't even recall the memories, because half the time we're judging what we're experiencing or what we see. If you see yourself as a reptilian in one lifetime and you are completely against the concept of reptilians, it's going to be really hard for you to translate that into a truth, to integrate that. There will be a fractalization and there won't be any integration of yourself, and that's trauma. Okay. And within the lack of that integration is an entire universe of information of your own self. So the number one thing that people have to do is to begin to train to not come into judgment. And within that practice of non-judgment, practice lucidity in waking state. So right here, right now, do you know where you are? Do you know what your back is doing? Do you know what your foot's doing? Do you know what your toes doing? Can you connect with your physical body, be fully grounded, embodied in this present moment? This will begin to exercise your ability to train memory recall. And when you go into dream state, that exercise will bleed into your dream state. You will literally become aware in the dream. And here's another interesting thing. Dreams of people that are deeply disconnected from their emotions and their body, people that are experiencing a lot of unhealed trauma, that are disconnected from their senses and their intuition, have very convoluted dreams that seemingly make no sense. Why? Because the user hasn't organized themselves to be able to translate the information. The more the human comes into this refinement of their own self, this neutral state, the dreams will become clearer and clearer. And this is why all the American Indians, through history have discussed the more clear that you can see your dreams like a clear lake, the more you have access into the many worlds, the underworld and the higher worlds. This is what they used to say. So, this is true for us. And it's something that we have to understand. Our ideas of dreams they are not fantasies. And imagination is one of the most powerful tools of translating the non-physical realm into the physical. So one of the misconceptions that we have to break is that dreams are just these illusions, these fantasies. And we have to kind of guide ourselves through the process of seeing yourself as more than just this limited physical body.
Well, I mean, it is a spiritual connection to absolutely everything that the phenomena takes us down that path. But I want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So, when I started my healing process and changing my diet, my exercise, and everything, one of the things I did, Geraldine, was I ended up going on a CPAP machine to
Mm.
help me breathe at night because I'm literally down to about 8% in one nostril for an air duct and 10% in the other. Hockey wasn't very kind to my nose. Okay. And that's okay. I had fun doing it. That's the main thing. But since I've been on my CPAP machine and I am now sleeping deeper, I'm not tossing and turning at night, I don't seem to be getting the experiences or remembering anything that happens during the night because I'm now having very deep sleep, which I wasn't having prior, which I believe helped me understand what was going on with my contact. Is my contact gone because I'm now sleeping more? Or am I just not having an opportunity to remember it?
That's right. That's right. So excellent that you're sleeping better. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. But now what we need to do is establish a practice daily where you start to wake up consciousness. You remember yourself. Okay. So here's a tip that I do for my lucid dreaming course. I ask people to create an alarm about 20 times a day. And when that alarm goes off, you ground yourself, you return to your body, you completely ask yourself what you're doing, why you're doing it, where are you? Literally, like the room that you're in, how it feels to sit on the chair that you're sitting, the city that you're in, the state, the country, the planet that you're in, this kind of awareness. You literally ask yourself those questions 20 times a day. And what happens is that you begin to train yourself to come into a state of awareness. When you go into deep sleep, you will start in whatever dream you're doing to wake up consciousness. First, it's going to come like a little dream, maybe a dream that you can't really remember. Maybe it's going to be, a little dream, a weird dream of something random. You're going to keep going and going and going. And as you practice this, you will begin to remember your dreams. Also, even though you're in deep sleep, one thing that you can do is put alarm in the middle of the night, if you can, to wake yourself up at least one time in the middle of the night around 3, 4 in the morning. Gentle, calm alarm that will wake you up enough, where you could just open your eyes. And again, you ask yourself the question, where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? All these questions. Go back to sleep. One of the most powerful ways to begin to wake up the training of lucidity is actually through this tool. So these are some things that I would love for you to try and then hopefully check back with you. Let me know how that works.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
Every time you speak, I listen. You got me trained like a puppy dog that way. We have just over a minute here left before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continues on. If you are waking yourself up in the middle of the night, are you not breaking the sleep pattern that is unhealthy for the body?
Well, no, because there are certain times of the night that's better. The best sleep that you want to get is between 10 and 2 a.m. Okay, that's the most restorative sleep that your body can get on your hemisphere that you're at. The body and the organs regenerate during those times. Between 3 and 5 a.m., our intestines are starting to regenerate. And usually, most people get up around that time to use the restroom anyway, because of that reason. If they sleep or they eat late, it ends up that they usually have to wake up. So this is a good time during this restorative of the lower body to wake up gently and allow yourself to go to sleep without disturbing the most healthiest part of your dream, of your sleep time.
Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You happens in near the beginning of each month here on Spaced Out Radio. We love Geraldine around here. She's just the best. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com, will continue the sleep and dream conversation when we return on the Mighty SOR. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Okay, we are clear. Yeah, I was waking up prior to my CPAP machine. I was waking up anywhere from 2 to 6 times a night.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I realized that with that going on, I thought it was just normal, the age thing, because everybody's like, when you get older, you wake up to pee more often. And I realized that after taking my sleep test, that it was my body waking me up because I wasn't breathing at night.
Yeah. That's totally
Yeah.
different. Absolutely. I'm so glad you got the machine and you're able to sleep better now.
Oh, yeah.
But it does. But now that you're sleeping better, your body's probably regenerating and restoring. It'll take some time, but you can definitely start recalling dreams now. And it's
Yeah.
okay to wake yourself up. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm tired,
Yeah.
but I'm not physically exhausted anymore.
Oh,
Like I
that's
was
so
running
good.
on fumes. I
Wow.
was literally running on fumes to the point where I couldn't drive more than 20 minutes without almost falling asleep.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is amazing.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I'm so glad you got it now.
Yeah. And I don't snore anymore.
Oh, that's great. That's good too, that you're getting nice air, nice oxygen in
Yeah.
your body.
So next time you put me under regression, I'm not going to snore anymore.
Yeah? Is that true?
My
That's
goodness.
okay. You had a nice little nap
Yeah.
once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I blame you for that one. That's completely your fault.
That's good. That's good. You're
Mhm.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, and I've been going to the gym anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week, and it's really weird because, well, it's not weird, but I guess it's good. I can do 30 minutes on the treadmill, no problem now. Before it was a struggle,
Wow.
and yeah, I'm
Dave,
like,
congratulations. My gosh.
I'm changing.
You are a changed man, healthy, vibrant. That's so wonderful.
Yes, between you and Kira in our chat room,
Mhm.
kicking my ass to get healthier, I finally listened. I told you I
That's
would
so
listen.
beautiful. I know.
I told you I would listen.
You are
It's-
growing in that self-love and that self-connection to you. What a gift.
Yeah,
It's
you know,
beautiful.
hey, I'm getting more and more handsome every day. Even though
That too. You see?
I'm like a fine wine now. Fine wine.
Excellent.
hmm
Love that.
Let's say hello to Jennifer. Yes, there will be questions for Geraldine in hour number 2. Hi, Sandra Kincaid. Thank you for joining us. Sandra has been a miracle worker for me too. She actually is works for a sleep specialist. So
Oh, wow.
she's done wonders to help me behind the scenes too.
Oh my God.
So I got to give her a shout out for my health as well.
Totally.
And who else has showed up here? Phyllis Mouche Perry. Considering I'm the only one who can pronounce her last name right, not even she can. Let's see here. Who else is joining us? Dutch Hank, CS, good to see you both. Blue Cruz, thanks for coming on in. Sandra is a sleep technologist. See, kicking my butt still. Sleep technologist, Dave. Shut the hell up with the other stuff. So, yeah, So, hey, Dirty Filth, is Blob still around? Thumbs up or down? There's Blob. Look how beautiful Blob is.
So cute.
There's Blob.
Oh.
Hi, Dewey Cheatham. Yeah, good old Blobbert right there. Look how cute she is.
So cute.
Hanging on out with Dirty Filth.
She's vibrating, Dave. Dave.
Oh, nice. Nice. Hi, Mongo. How you doing? Yes, we've been getting a lot of requests wondering where Blob is. How's she liking the piece of art today?
Oh, pretty good. She's starting to get a little heavy.
Yeah. She doesn't care, Filth. She doesn't care.
I can't feel my legs anymore.
Of course not.
Oh, no.
Barbara Mora, welcome to SOR Chat. Yes, I had a great interview right before this show on the Monsters Lounge podcast with Yenny and Tressa. I think it's a silent J. Yenny. It was a good show. It was a lot of fun. Thank you tonight to T-Bone and Ozzy Ange for the super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And here we go with the second half hour, everybody. Excuse me. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. Geraldine is out of Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, and her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Talking about dream state and consciousness, contact with ETs, and everything that goes on here. Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Dave.
What happens to our bodies and our consciousness while we're sleeping and dreaming?
Yeah, so it's really beautiful what happens actually. We're constantly, so first of all, when we rest, there is a certain time every hour of the night. So the body is a beautiful multidimensional system. And as a whole organism, it is a fractal of the universe. Okay, let's first understand that. And in the same way, it is a fractal of the earth. We are a fractal of the earth. And normally when we align, the more we align with nature, the more we actually come into harmony with the natural circadian rhythms of the planet. And so when we're sleeping, thankfully, the analytical mind kind of goes out of the way to allow the body to come into recuperation. If we have a lot of trauma and a lot of fears and anxieties and constant stress, and the nervous system is completely dysregulated, oftentimes it will be very difficult for the body to come into restorative sleep. So this is why it's really important to do some kind of emotional healing. Really to spend a lot of time doing that deep shadow work or integrating the parts of us that we try to separate or resist, because that is what causes the majority of the dysregulation in the nervous system. So if we begin to train ourselves to work with that, we can actually kind of heal the body, and our dream state will be deeper. What does that mean? Well, your body is made up of a vortex, okay, the entire multidimensional body. You have two major vortex systems, which creates the toroidal flow of life force through your body. And the major flow of life force through the body is created by the main energy centers that we know as the chakra system. So the chakra system is organizing frequency from lowest to highest, from the lower part of the body, the perineum, up into the crown of the head. And those energy systems are deeply interconnected with the organs of the body. So what does that mean? When we have a lot of trauma and we store that emotional trauma, let's say an emotion, a fear, a feeling of helplessness in this example, let's say the belly becomes deeply, deeply contracted. Not only do we have digestive problems, but we start to develop stomach problems, back problems, really difficult to sleep. So what happens is that it creates a block in where the toroidal flow of energy, of life force that needs to move through the body doesn't move anymore. It gets blocked in the solar plexus. So what happens at dream time is that the frequency that we can reach when we're ready to leave the body for dream state kind of reaches a cap. And that cap is designed by all the major blockages that you hold within your body. In this example, the solar plexus, the feeling of unworthiness, is blocking the third layer of your body. Okay. And essentially, when you try to go outside of your body, you literally will have a really hard time. That means that you're entering into other realms, other dimensions, which is extremely important for the body to do, to the soul to do as a whole, in order to remember itself and to move in its spiritual evolution. So when we are not healing emotionally, we are also not healing in the greater collective. So as we learn how to remove these blockages, your dream state will open up, your memory will begin to recover, and you will also heal your body physically. Okay. So what's happening in dream state is that depending on how many blockages you're holding in your body, your brain waves are also matching those frequencies and shifting. Now, our brain waves are often shifting throughout the day, depending on our state consciousness. Most of us, unfortunately, are in a constant state of hypnosis all the time. We're completely unconscious and highly suggestible. And that's what makes us incredible consumers and highly programmable. Okay, so we have to be very aware of that. We have to break that pattern, and we have to come into conscious awareness, which means that you're in the present moment, fully aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And so, in order to maintain that habit, that also needs to go into dream state, because in dream state, you're entering into deeper states of consciousness. And that means that you can navigate, leave the body in and out more fluidly. Okay. And so there's several mechanisms that are occurring here. Because you are a bioelectrical system, the more that you clear your body, this is why at night I train and I invite people to learn how to clear their body. How do you clear your body? Here's a really simple tip that you can do. Visualize yourself inside of a bubble. Okay, it's important for you to use the technique of the bubble because it's one of the most powerful and simple tools, and it's like a play-like imaginary tool that you can use. That you imagine yourself inside of a bubble, and that everything in that bubble is what you can control. What is outside of that bubble, you cannot control. That's also extremely powerful. It allows you to create space between the things that are coming at you, and it gives you time to choose whether you want to react and engage with that thing. Remember that everything that you engage with throughout the day becomes an entanglement and a cord and will define the quality of sleep that you have at night. Okay. Also, it's going to define the kind of dreams that you're having. So if you are constantly entangled with everything outside of you, reacting, interacting, judging, your energy, your vortex, this beautiful toroidal flow, now becomes a depleting life force, and you become a centrifugal movement, okay? Which means that you are moving outwardly, and that's exhausting. So what happens? Not only are you exhausting yourself throughout your day, but at night when you're ready to go to sleep, you can't even have complete sleep because you're busy with unresolved trauma, emotions, unregulated nervous system, in addition to the energetic cords that are depleting your life force. Okay, so imagine that. So all of this is very easily changed by redirecting your attention inwardly. Okay, you imagine yourself inside the bubble and you begin to visualize that you breathe your energy back to you. That requires you to be conscious of who you're engaging with throughout the day. So imagine all the people that you've been engaging with in this day, whether it's virtual, whether it's in a tiny little thought, whether it's in a feeling or sensation that something triggered in you, and call back your energy. It's going to come back to you like gold energy back into your body. You're going to breathe it in, and you're literally going to feel more regenerated at the end of that practice. You're also going to visualize that you're connected through cords, and you're going to cut those cords and inhale deeply that energy. Now, the most powerful way to integrate cords is by embodying unconditional, non-judgmental love in the heart center, because the heart is the largest magnetic field in the body. It's also how you enter into higher states of consciousness in dream state. Okay. So if you want to begin to start practicing deeper dreams and a higher state of consciousness in dream state, practice love, unconditional self-love, like literally make it a practice that you're going to come into the feeling of love several times throughout the day. And some people don't know what the feeling of love feels like. So you can start with gratitude. Okay. You can start with profound feelings of gratitude for simple little things, whether it's water, whether it's a roof over your head, whether it's a shirt that you're wearing. Okay. That constant state of feeling is going to begin to shift the energetic frequencies that you have in your body and allow you to have a more complete sleep. So those are just some things that happen to us.
And it also builds confidence.
Of course.
I know
Self. Mhm.
when I went through my divorce, going back a number of years ago, this is like 17 years ago,
Yeah.
I literally hated myself. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without literally chastising and berating myself. That's how bad it was. And I started, I knew I had to change because I wanted to get out from that black cloud that was hovering over me, that black cloud of guilt and depression and everything. And finding these little victories, or what I like to call little victories, are so powerful to the change in everything that you do. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah. Wow, Dave, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
I want to ask you in regards to the golden light, because a lot of people who meditate talk about bringing in the golden light to help purify the mind, body, and soul. Where does this light come from? What's it about? Why gold?
Oh, amazing question. Well, one of the interesting things that happened to me after my contact experience in 2013 was that it activated the ability to see the multidimensional body. And lo and behold, when I go to see my client on Monday, all I see is blobs and explosions of light all over her body, different colors everywhere. And over time, I mean, it took me about 5 years to process what I was looking at and to organize what I was seeing, comparing it with my clients, comparing it with bodies, many millions of bodies I was looking at, outside when I'm walking in the street, and comparing with my own energy centers in my body. I began to notice that there's a certain architecture with how these kinds of colors place themselves in the body and how they also flow through the body. So actually, our bodies are really truly made of light. They are made of light. It is frequency, it's energy. And the body has a very intelligent way of self-organizing this light from in forms of densities, from lower density to higher densities. Lower densities accumulating in the lower parts of the body, lower dantian down to the feet. Higher densities being processed in the upper parts of the body, around the crown of the head, and even above the body. So there are, and then in addition to that, the body of light, it doesn't just end at a certain place. In fact, we melt in with our environment. Okay. So this is how we understand that we are one. If you want a proof that you're one, begin to develop your intuition to begin to see yourself as a light body. And what you're going to discover, how deeply interconnected we are. In fact, it's through the morphogenetic field that the body emerges, the form of the body emerges from the light body into the physical body. And it's really interesting because actually there are certain frequencies that are interconnecting all things down from the cellular level to galaxies in the universe. One of those energies is a violet light which is actually found in the very molecular structure of your DNA down to the cellular levels, but also it's found in the universe and within the dark matter and in this liquid plasma type matter that interconnects all organisms in this multiverse. So gold frequency is one of the most neutral frequencies that is a next octave from that violet light. And it is one of the most, it's the second most interconnecting healing frequency in this universe. We have it within our physical bodies. It's the main, it's like blood. If you were to imagine that blood irrigates the entire body into its living life force, you can imagine gold being the blood of this universe. It is what allows runways of life force, intercommunication between other organisms and celestial bodies. And we are literally made up of that energy. So when you look at the multidimensional body, we have channels of energy through that toroidal flow that I mentioned that goes down through the crown of the head, in through the body. And depending on how open we are in this chakra body, the more we can anchor it. There have been ascended masters and monks that their bodies become like a rainbow body. And this is very well known in the Buddhist, schools of thought, that when we embody the rainbow body, those multicolors that we have in the body become organized. This is the sign of a harmonized light body, a harmonized organism. That means that we're no longer confused and blocked in our energy bodies, but we allow that life force to flow. What happens when you shine white light through a prism is that it becomes refracted. We are actually, the seventh and the eighth chakra functions like a refracting mechanism. And the refraction process of those white lights unfolds into the rainbow colors that we have in our physical body. Gold is found in every single layer of those colors. Okay. So it's kind of like the melding frequency that combines all. In pranic healing, it's one of the most powerful neutral energies that you can utilize to heal the body. It's extremely gentle. It's extremely regenerative and healing.
The fact that everything is a regeneration, and I think that's really what it comes down to, is we're trying to regenerate the path of everything from mind, body, and soul connection to our consciousness and our connections to the spiritual world as well. What are the blockages that we put up so that way we are not really paying attention to what is truly going on?
Yeah.
Is it everyday life? Is it stress? Is it family? Is it spouses, or partners, or politics? I can see all this kind of adding up to where we would be blocking.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? It actually goes even deeper than that. I'd love for you to kind of think of where politicians get their ideas, where society gets their ideas, where we get our traumas. There are certain belief systems in this world that emerge from the disharmony that we have within this dualistic organism. So our physical bodies are made up of feminine, masculine energy. This entire universe is designed in this dualistic manner. And so we actually on this earth, unfortunately, we forget that. We forget that we are coming in to experience duality for a moment. And when you have that level of forgetfulness, it's really easy for manipulation to occur, for indoctrination to occur, for programming to occur, because we are born into the middle of these life stories of societies that have unconsciously built concepts around wrong and incomplete ideas of the natural whole self. And so that has to be corrected. And the way to correct that belief system is by reversing those unnatural beliefs of this natural world and ourselves. Ideas that anger are taboo, sex is taboo, fear is taboo. You see, those kinds of suppressions of the natural expression of this dualistic nature causes major confusion in all of society. So we need to go back to those roots, question the belief systems that we have about those concepts, and begin to regulate back into a natural order, because nature operates in natural flows of life and death, regeneration cycles, good and bad. There is no good and bad in that cyclical movement, because everything is a cause and effect that is understood, that is made space for. And so as humans, we have to return back to that natural order in order to witness these rise and falls of life and death through our own human expression, whether that's, how we feel in society, how we're interacting with one another, how we build community, how we bring children forth into the world. That all of those concepts of suppression have to be coming in harmony with natural human expression. And that is the true sovereignty that humanity is coming into right now. There's a major breaking away from old systems, old belief systems, whether it's this inverted matriarchal ideas, inverted patriarchal ideas, we are now creating a new way of being together as a whole, where we now come into what does it look like to be integrated in these dualistic natures. And that will change politics, that will change society, that will change our concepts of what religion is or should be. And it should also change the idea and the concept that things outside of ourselves are more powerful than ourselves. That's extremely important, because one of the most powerful ways to control humanity is to maintain them in the dark about their own personal empowerment and sovereignty. So, um, most of our suffering is actually coming from the ignorance of who we really are. So, but it's our fault, honestly, ultimately, because we haven't taken the time to sit down and get to know who we are. So that's the invitation, I guess, that we start to do at this time and take that very seriously.
How does that react to extraterrestrial contact, and why they may or may not want to have contact with us?
Yeah, well, the way that I have come to understand ET contact is this. Whether you are talking about extraterrestrials, ultra terrestrials, interdimensionals, we are talking about non-physical, non-material. In fact, when everything is non-material, we are existing in a holographic construct. Okay, so first that has to be a foundation in order to understand these concepts. We live in a holographic construct, and therefore, interacting with consciousness of higher octaves of frequency now become less form tangible like. And these interdimensional beings that we're interacting with are not something external to us. It is something that we have major participation in the manifestation of. In fact, within our DNA is encoded the ET aspects of ourselves that we experience, whether in dream state or which we are going to experience as a human race. Because there will be a time where the human race is completely aware of these interdimensional beings, because it's the natural progression, the direction in which we're headed, just naturally, because of the way that this construct is built. And so to prepare for that, we need to understand how to navigate non-physical interdimensionality. The first step to that is to begin to train your faculties to translate the non-physical. That means that you have to speak the language of frequency, the language of the universe. How? Through your five senses. How? Through the emotions. You're a bioelectrical, biophysical, biochemical organism that when you feel emotions, you create massive amounts of bioelectrical charge in your body. And that bioelectrical charge is infused into this holographic system, which essentially attracts and magnetizes you to experience people, things, both physical and non-physical. So this is important because the kind of contact that you are going to have, you personally, and this is, a fact, because in a room you can put 50 people, and from those 50 people, you might have this being appearing, and only 5 of those people will be able to see and interact with this being. That's not just because they're collectively imagining it. It's because they are in the same frequency to be able to engage with that. So your frequency will define the kind of contact that you're having. And you can go as dark as you want, and you can also go as high as you want. It's your creation. You play a major role. And of course, you are just waking up consciousness in the middle of an entire life that you're living, or simultaneous lives that you're living. So when you become aware that there's interdimensional presences around you, you have to understand that you're just becoming aware of something that you've been engaging with in your dream state, out-of-body experiences, many lifetimes. Okay, so it's important for you. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Hold that thought.
Yes.
We got a break. We have Geraldine Orozco for another hour on the Spiritual You. We love it when she's here. We'll be right back with the second hour after this. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right. There we go. We are clear. Geraldine, we're going to take about a 5.5 minute break. Dirty Filth, we're going to turn this bad boy over to you. And we'll be right back, everybody.
He's going to be right back, everybody, he says.
I'm going to be right back. Hi, Castle Dude.
Dave's going to be right back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, watching the drawing. I'm actually drawing the second page of my comic. Or painting and then inking the second page of my comic. I'll show you the first page. Anyways, so the entire premise is that Carl, Stanton, and Alan decide to try to get rich by taking a picture of Sasquatch, and it horribly backfires. So anyways, they're sitting at the pub, and then they decide that Sasquatch is going to walk in, and they're going to take a picture of him. It doesn't work out. Hilarity ensues. Sorry, I had to cough there. Good to see everybody. All the cats have abandoned me now. It's just me running the orchestra alone, folks. Speaking of camera shy creatures there, Philip Blair, I'll be on with Rob G on Sunday, talking about cartoons and aliens. Yes. Assemble. But yeah, it's this comic here. I think it's about like 8 pages, 12 pages total. So yeah, about 6.5 single individual pages. So I'll probably have that done soon enough. But sometimes I get stuck on other drawings. It's terrible. I don't know what's bigger, is my have not finished drawing pile or my have not finished reading book pile. Christine, I tend to ramble when I get left alone for long periods of time or have to explain something. Yeah. Just kind of worried about swearing too much because I've got a potty mouth. Yes, April is the Frogman, if I remember correctly. The Loveland Frogman. Yes, that's what he is. Let's have a quick gander, shall we? We got him over here. Look at that beauty. Let me just plug my work here for a second. Just got a couple minutes here. Look at that. 2024. Here's January's with. Sorry, it's a little glossy. We got Dave and Merle investigating. And then what was February? Mothman and his pal. It's technically Mothra, but I can't write that because. And then we had March. We had Stan Gordon chasing down Bigfoot. Because why not? And here's the coolest part. I put all these little dates, and they're kind of redacted. Hey, Phoenix Lights. That's. It's April. April is the Loveland Frogman of 1972. Yes. There's a self-portrait on the back. Anyways, back to important things. Drawing cartoons and finishing my delicious Earl Grey tea. My cat has back. I'm not sure what that lingo means there, sovereign cosmic wild man. I used to play games with a guy named Dirty Wild Man.
All right, Dirty. I'm back.
Hi, Dave.
You're looking good.
Yeah, I always look good, Dave.
How's Blobber?
Oh, she just abandoned me shortly. Previously ago, I had to go and grab some stuff, and then she went downstairs. I think she's going to try to steal some of the leftover milk from Mrs. Phil's cereal she's having.
Oh, yes, the old leftover milk.
Yeah, it's fine when the cats do it. When I start looking out of the bowl, it's weird.
I know. They just don't seem to like that.
That's right. Snack time in about half hour for him, too.
Oh, yes. I get that. Big thank you tonight to T-Bone ×2, Ozzy Ange, and Aloha Dave for the super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support. And we're going to get going with hour 2 here momentarily. Stay tuned, everybody. Don't forget you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. Nothing ugly there for you to, cling on to. Here we go, everybody. Here is hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Want to remind all of you that we really appreciate you tuning us on a nightly basis. Go to our social media pages, hit subscribe, ring that bell, give us a follow. And we say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Make that Fainéant. Fainéant is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. We continue on with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. We are talking all things to do with dreams, lucid dreams, consciousness, ET contact. The list goes on and on. And Geraldine, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dave. Always such a joy to be here with you all.
My question to start off this hour, before we get to some audience questions, is regarding the consciousness aspect of ET contact. Because a lot of times when we are taken subconsciously. They may not take us physically, but somehow they are able to pry our spirits out of our bodies and do at will with what they want. How does this happen? How do they do it?
Yeah, well, actually, we participate a lot in that, actually. And I also want to mention to you that, the time element is really interesting in contact. When we think it's happening right now, we actually might be tuning into memories of something that we've experienced maybe a long time ago, or maybe even future timelines that is actually happening. So it's also important to recognize that. And I say that because a lot of times experiencers are having memories where they are recalling bits and pieces of these memories throughout their life about the contact experience that they're having. When they're a child, they see one little part. When they're, mid-age, they see one other little part. When they're adults, they see some other part. And it isn't until later on that they begin to integrate the whole picture of the event and the experience that's happened to them. And it's not something that happened in that moment. It's something that happened at another time, in another dimension, perhaps, in dream state. So I think that it's important to recognize that element, because contact isn't something that is always happening in this exact present moment in the timeline that we know it. And so for that reason, we also are not aware of the kind of agreements, states of consciousness, understandings that we might have with these beings. Remember that when we remember them, we're kind of, just for a moment, we are waking up consciousness to a timeline that is actually complete timeline that's existing. And we are just becoming aware of it. We just remember one tiny little part of that entire timeline. So it's important for you, either through hypnotherapy or through regressive meditation techniques, to try to tune into that timeline in its entirety in order to understand your role in participation of that contact. In fact, there really isn't a lot of contact that is completely without a purpose. Everything seems to have a cause and effect. And not all contact is negative. Some contact is extremely positive, but it takes time for us to understand and integrate it, because the human filter is extremely limited, extremely limited. Not only are we barely grasping the concept of ETs, interdimensionals, angelic beings, entities, but we have to understand the entire realm of consciousness that involves. There's certain laws and awareness to these realms that we have to learn. So there's a learning curve here when it comes to ET contact. Not all cases where we have to come into a state of victimization. In fact, I strongly suggest that you get hypnotherapy or do some kind of technique to remote view and to learn more about your experience in a more broader perspective. This always results in healing of my contactees. When they question why they are there, what's happening to them, what's going on, they begin to realize entire storylines of participation, choices that they've made, inquiries, desires, yearnings that they've had to learn something, interact with them. A lot of contact is actually summoned through ourselves. We desire the contact, and therefore the contact will present itself because our frequency matches those timelines. So this is something that we can create in our lives, and we have a lot of power over.
How do we gain that power? How do we know that we still have that power?
I think what it really comes down to is understanding the mechanisms of your human nature. We actually abide by certain laws of the universe. We have to understand those laws of cause and effect, laws of accidents, universal laws of unity. We need to understand those laws because they're going to help us understand why the certain ethics, or I guess you can say ethics, because there are certain ethics to this universal construct, and each dimension has a different construct of ethics that abide by their local physics and understanding of reality. So, in order to understand that, you have to break your limiting belief systems, or perhaps our ignorance of our own construct, because most of us, we really don't know very much about our own world and the way that we function internally. So that is number one. We have to become aware of how we work. How do you enter into dream state? How much does your trauma in your lifetime participate in the kind of contact that you're having? It tremendously affects. If you have a lot of trauma in your childhood, it goes both ways. Not only do you have certain bloodlines of interdimensional beings and ETs in your DNA that are being expressed as collective ancestral trauma passed down through generations, but you're also creating more experiences based on that traumatic belief system. Okay. So when you integrate and you heal that trauma, your contact shifts and changes. The way that you perceive the experiences are going to change. And sometimes you can even heal entire collective lineages. So the power is in doing the essential work of knowing yourself. That is the power. The vessel of the physical body is the conduit to all universes. You are a portal. Through your DNA, you're a portal. Through your chakra system, you're a portal into the different lineages of these interdimensionality. So it's extremely important for the human to get to know themselves in this healing.
My goodness. Okay, so do the aliens or the that are coming to contact us, do they want us to heal? Do they want us to ascend? Do they want us to have longer lives? What do they want from us, for as far as you've been able to figure out?
Yeah, just humbly speaking from working with contactees, a common theme that I see, um, a lot of these, we have to understand that these species are coming from not only different dimensions, but different different timelines, and a lot of these are perceived as future timelines because they have a broader awareness of the universe. Okay, and what that means is that a lot of their concern and their worry is about the self-destructive nature of humanity, um, when human is deeply unconscious. A lot of contact serves as a wake-up call to wake up the limiting perception of the human into a higher octave of awareness that we are universal citizens participating in a interconnectedness of this universe. Oftentimes, when we're stuck in the human life, we forget how our actions, our thoughts, and our emotions affect universes. Literally, they affect ripple effect in the universe, past lives and future lives. Ancestral lineages, our children, our descendants are being affected. That's huge. And this is the kind of awareness that they have because they exist in that kind of awareness all the time. That's just the way that they exist. They speak in universes. Their concepts are very unified, and this is one of the signs of an advanced civilization. That advanced civilizations are very much geared towards unity consciousness, in where every single citizen of that society is aware of the impact of every delicate part of their expression. So we as a human race are advanced in some areas, but we're also infantile in learning that law. And that's what the third dimension is about. The third dimension is about learning cause and effect and how that works, these karmic cycles, breaking them and creating them. So the ETs, interdimensional beings, are really helping humanity wake up consciousness into a higher octave. Even the lower density beings are helping humanity do that, because in order for you to understand profound collective trauma, such as Draco reptilian consciousness, in some cases, it's the destruction of the soul, the refraction of the soul. Okay, so again, we are learning these dualistic natures of human expression. So, um, yeah, it's really important to understand that.
The ETs, from what I know, a lot of them don't seem to have a conscience or a soul. They almost seem like biological robots in the way they handle people and in the way that they seem to be there to get a job done and move on and do whatever they need to do. But yet it's so much more complex than that. Whether it's bringing us up for knowledge or downloads or reprogramming or hybridization or anything like that. There seems to be a lot more going on. How come we're never conscious of it fully?
You know, again, it goes back to our state of awareness. I mean, if you think of a lab here on Earth, in order to find cures and medicines, we're torturing little animals in order to find these cures, for example. So in the universe of the little rat, we they get abducted by these giants called humans that are injecting, prodding, breaking their backs, gluing them back together without any sympathy, in order to learn from them, right? So if you can just come into that mentality, that construct of thinking, um, in the bigger picture of things, those animals are serving a purpose in this collective whole. I don't agree with that, yeah, personally, but it's a part of this experience as a human. Human potential believes that they need that for research. Okay, so in the same way that we might have those flawed concepts, we are part of a chain of consciousness. There are beings and entities that are higher intelligence than us that are able to see the bigger picture, just like we think we're seeing the bigger picture. They see the bigger picture of things, and we are part of that chain of interrelationships in creating a bigger picture. And the role that the human plays is extremely valuable because the way that we're made up. It's my belief system that everything has consciousness in this universe. Everything is conscious. And there is the element of that soul that emerges from that consciousness as a result of very specific um, physical, biological refinement of matter. But I do believe that every single organism has the ability to come into that consciousness in which a soul is anchored into their organism. So I also don't feel that many ETs don't have a soul. I do feel that the soul element is actually it's the link between the infinite potential into the matter. I feel that all living organisms with consciousness do have a soul. Um, but whether they are aware of that is another story. And whether they're willing to tap into that is another story. Just like humans can behave like robots, completely unaware of their actions, the cause and effect of suffering that they're causing. You know, these beings can also operate in that way. But it really requires the human to break their limiting perceptions because we don't know the bigger picture. What's important for the human to do right now is to break limiting belief systems and train yourself to come into broader perspective, vision, broader perspective of all things. This is going to help us in the way the world is going to change right now. Right now, we're having a major celestial movement, and this entire world is going to change tremendously in the next 3 years, as we've been talking. And so, to prepare for that, you have to train yourself to come into a more neutral, fluid state in where you can see the bigger picture of the transformation. That will help you avoid suffering. So, um, a lot of these ET beings are presenting themselves to humans now because it's necessary to activate the memory of the collective genetic pool base. And it's not just that they're doing it to us, we are doing it to us. We shift our frequency, call forth these beings. We have agreements for that, and we interact with them. And that pull forward humanity. The children that are being born right now are deeply connected to many of their starseed awareness. They remember and they anchor that information into this timeline. That's part of the evolutionary pool towards the future.
Wow, that's pretty deep. Now, the idea that they are doing this to us, and yet we see children all around the world being way more open to everything. Is this changing our generation for the future generations, or is this about changing the the aspect of who we are to understand the newer generations a little bit more when it comes to spirituality and consciousness?
You know, everything is happening in the now, and then in the now, in the now, in the now. Why? Because every moment is charged bioelectrically, which changes the collective. It's a major impact. Now, this is just one human. When you put all the humans on this planet together, they are creating a bioelectric charge that is choosing collective timelines for this solar system, for this galaxy, so on and so forth. So, this is why in this dimension, even though free will really only comes into play when you are aware of yourself and why you're choosing things, um, there's a certain element in which humanity has the ability to choose the timelines that we're experiencing collectively. We can take humanity into direction of war pretty quickly, very quickly. self-annihilation. We can also take humanity in the direction of collective healing. But every human has to be aware of the choice that is healing for the collective. So in this way, interdimensional beings, are also interacting us and channeling information through us for that purpose. But the human has to purify this channel because we are too egotistical. We're too narcissistic. We forget the bigger picture, and we keep holding on to identities. We're like, I'm Arcturian, I'm Pleiadian, I'm this. And we forget that we're everything. So these concepts have to filter through quick enough so that we can create, a bigger picture. No more separate, no more compartmentalized belief systems, but moving into that concept of unity in all areas of your expression. It's really important. You can't say you're unity consciousness, but only identify with one part of you. It doesn't make sense. So this is important for this kind of move.
We got 3.5 minutes to go before we have to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continues on here on Spaced Out Radio. Geraldine, as we start to move forward and start to accept that more and more people are having contact with beings, how do we know where they're from? How do we research and find out more information on what our encounters are all about?
Yes. One way that there's two ways that you can do that. First of all, there is a universal language, which is frequency, that comes in form of geometry, color for us, and also emotions. Okay. So when you tune into a being that you're interacting with, pay attention to the kind of emotions that are triggered in you. Pay attention to geometry that is being expressed to you, technology that is being expressed to you. The more non-physical the expression, the higher the vibrational frequency of the being that you're interacting with, which in a way means higher octave of the universe from which they are coming from. The more denser this interaction is going to be, the more physical, the more fearful, the more lower frequency it's going to be, the more tangible, the more closer to Earth these interactions going to be, the more local the contact is going to be. Okay, so local galaxies, the most local kind of interactions are going to be. Now, this also relates to the construct of your multidimensional body. Pay attention to where in your body you're being triggered, because you are a fractal of the universe, which means that through your body, you can sense and see what planet they're coming from, what frequency, where are they emanating from. You're going to feel it through your body. You're going to see it in your multidimensional body. And this is important for you to understand, because the dimensions from which they emerge from, you have to train your self-discernment to know what is true, because a lot of times there's a little bit of trickster energy. A lot of time, there's screening of information where information isn't always clear. And a lot of times that happens because we are not prepared and we create filters in ourselves. So they come with filters. They come show us something, but that's not really what they are. And sometimes it takes a while to uncover the layers of what they really are. So don't take everything at face value. Take a moment to dive into what you're experiencing and clear yourself of any fears and filters that you might have in order to see the truth of what they're expressing. Sometimes the truth is harder than the filter for you to process, and that's why you have to train your relationship with the unknown. Okay, so these are some ways that you can tune into that.
Geraldine, we got one more segment with you here on Spaced Out Radio, and it always flies by when you are our guest on this big show, and we love it that you're here. GeraldineOrozco.com is Geraldine's website, of course. We'll take audience questions when we come back on Spaced Out Radio, as the second half of the show comes right after this. Stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back.
listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Don't worry, your hair still looks gorgeous.
That's good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see you in Reno next month.
Yes, Reno. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a crazy month next month.
Yep, it is. It is. It is. It is. So, how cold is it down there?
It was like 70 degrees today. It was so beautiful. Hate to rub it in, but it was just pristine. How is it over there?
Well, it was right now. It's 50 Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay. Still a little
Warming
cold.
up. We've already had our first forest fire of the season.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Yeah.
unfortunate. Really? What happened? Why so soon?
We didn't get enough snow.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
No, we didn't get enough snow. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a big one, so that's good.
Thank God.
Yeah,
So snow melted already then?
pretty much.
Wow, in April. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so the good news is I'm going to be getting out to our Sasquatch area soon.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
See if they're around. I'm excited to be back outside, and if it is going to be hot this year, which should mean a less of a mosquito season.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's going from there. What you got there, Dirty? Let's zoom in on you here.
Yeah, what is it creating here?
Okay, so what about Sasquatch? Think about it, Stanton. Oh, there's Blob.
Oh, Blob.
There's Blob.
So,
Blobbert's inspecting the art right now.
Yeah. There. Oh, yeah. There you go. Thanks, Blob.
The last good Sasquatch evidence was the classic inland footage when Sasquatch watched through a door. Did we tackle him and take a hair sample? No. Dummy, we get ourselves a nice clear photograph. I like it.
Here's the first page, Dave.
Oh,
let's
there's
see.
2 pages.
Get out the
we're at
context.
I'm telling you, this will plain work. Oh, I love it. I love it.
And but the bad thing is, Carl, Stanton, and Alan, they always have the worst luck with their plans, so it doesn't work out for them all the time.
Poor guys. Poor guys.
Dave, are you gonna watch the show on Sunday?
I am going to watch you be interviewed by Sweet Robbie G. That is for sure. Are you excited?
I hope so. Well, I am excited. I hope you're going to cheer for me from the peanut gallery.
I am going to have Dirty Filth pom-poms.
Nice. Just little mop heads swinging around.
Pretty much. Or a couple of bounce dryer sheets.
Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
You could just sprinkle some patchouli around the house. That's generally what I stink of. So, or
Geraldine,
garlic.
I got asked a major question today. I'm curious your answer because I was interviewed before this show, and I was asked how many times a week I washed my hair. How often? And it's twice, Mondays and Fridays. Good long shampoo and conditioner. How often are you washing that beautiful mane of yours?
Pretty much 4 days, unless I do a lot of intense yoga, then it's like 3 days. But yeah, 4 days usually.
Very nice.
Yeah. That's great. That's great that you don't wash it. It's not, I read that it's not good. It's good to keep the oils. The oils help the hair grow and be healthy. Yeah.
If you wash your hair every day, you'll turn out like me.
Fedora John is in the chat room. Hey, Fedora John. How you doing, buddy? Kufunia, nice to see you. All right, we got about 40 seconds.
Hi, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, Dirty Filth. You're the best. La Unica Yoli, welcome to SOR Chat. And thank you to T-Bone Times 2. Thank you to T-Bone Times 2, Ozzy Ange, and Aloha Dave for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love. Don't forget, you only have until the 10th of this month to get in your VIP packages for Spaced Out Radio's fan party, May 10th through 12th in Reno at the Silver Legacy Casino Resort. Get them in now. Here we go. Like 5 seconds. Here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Very much appreciate your listening ears. I want to remind all of you to remember that you can check out all of our archives for free. They're always free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, final half hour with Geraldine Orozco. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com, as she comes in once a month for the Spiritual You, hanging on out with us, talking all things from spirituality to aliens. And Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you once again.
You have helped hundreds, if not thousands of people over the years find themselves both spiritually and to, accept their own contact of what's going on. What is the most rewarding story you have with a person that you've worked with? I've never asked you that before.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. In regards to contact, right?
Yes.
Well, there's a couple really amazing stories, but one of the stories was with this young lady that was actually having interdimensional experiences of hybridization. And she was having really bad experiences where she would have a dream of her babies being taken. And she was having miscarriages, and she was trying to get pregnant for a long time. And we worked for several months trying to break these kinds of contracts. And what I discovered was deep rooted belief systems and contact with her family going down maybe 6 generations back, where her grandmother, her great-great-grandmother, and actually in her hypnotherapy and her regression, she saw her grandmother's house, her great-grandmother's house, and she actually went to South America to look at this house. And hidden in the papers of the great-great-great-grandparent, papers in their history, were little drawings that the great-grandmother had done of UFOs and beings, little light blob beings. And they were very similar to the ones that she was channeling and she was painting. She was also an artist. So it turns out that, this generational trauma and experiences of having these contact experiences were going down the family. And we had to do some deep healing about that. And when we did the healing, finally, for 1 whole year, her experiences completely changed. Her miscarriages changed. The healing of the womb in the divine feminine changed. Her intuition emerged. She became highly, highly intuitive. She began to channel information for her own healing, for her family, and lo and behold, she became pregnant and finally was able to have a child. So it's really interesting to see the connection between her spiritual aspect and the interdimensional. And I strongly feel and have seen in proof that it goes hand in hand, that when the human integrates their internal wounds, their experiences completely change as well. So her little child that was born maybe like a couple years ago now, is so beautiful, and the child has dreams, and the child is also experiencing things now, and but completely beautiful things, really high vibrational things. So she healed herself, her ancestral history, and now the proof and the fruit of that labor is now in the child that's now growing. So that was a really, really inspirational story that I think was amazing. And her husband really did not even believe in this at first until he started to ask his father and his grandpa about contact. And it turns out that, of course, they had contact in their family as well. And I see this all the time. People that are coming together are people that have had contact, many generations. Yeah, and so obviously there was healing there for him as well that participated in the creation of the child. So there's one story.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, when you hear positivity like that, it sure has to really boost what you do and boost your confidence that you're doing the right thing and on the right path.
Yeah, I mean, my main goal is to help people move out of suffering, and I think that through the self learning of yourself, you can heal from trauma and you can change your perception about suffering. We are biochemical, bioelectrical organisms that when we understand the role that our emotions and our programs play in the creation of our reality, we can change our lives completely, mind, body, and soul. And so that's my goal, to train humans how to do that so that you can have the optimum life in all areas. Um, but of course, my experience with interdimensionality is helping us move humanity forward into the next step, where most of us are going to be very aware of interdimensional contact soon enough.
Okay, I want to ask you a question about extraterrestrials before we get to some audience questions here. And that is regarding the species of everything. Okay, you have your contactees from the other realms and dimensions and space. I have mine. They're all different. Everybody seems to be different. How do they choose who to take? Like, for instance, some people have contact with Andromedans or Pleiadians or reptilians or Anunnaki or the Greys or the Zeta Reticula Greys or 50 Shades of Greys. I mean, there are all sorts of different contexts, and somebody who say has contact with Andromedans may not have contact with reptilians or the Greys. How does this happen? How do they choose?
Yeah. Well, what I have seen over the years working with contactees that have contact since childhood, um, there is an evolutionary process in contact with contactees. It appears that as they grow older, as they become aware of, as whether they go deep into the inquiry of these species or not, there is an activation of their frequency, an activation of their awareness, um, where they are able to connect to broader ranges of species, you could say. And the way that I see this biologically is that the human is activating their DNA, the suppression of suppressed DNA, of dormant DNA. And in that dormant DNA is the memory of their lineage within these different species and bloodlines. So, as the human is evolving spiritually, they are also activating these genetic traits within them, which allows them to experience this kind of interdimensional contact. And the reason why I say this is because actually, ET contact seems to go in lineages, in bloodlines. So, what I'm noticing collecting this information of contactees and their families is that even though the human might have different experiences than me or you, say, in their family, a lot of the family members have or recall memory of having seen certain kind of species. So, for example, in one family, it might be blue beings, and you connect with different members of the family separately, completely separately, never talked about ET contact to one another. And what emerges from their hypnosis experiences is that they have very individual experiences with blue beings. All of them have that. All of them have contact with grays. Okay, so what I'm noticing with these families is that actually it's in our DNA. We actually are deeply connected with certain species because of our ancestral lineage, because we ourselves are descendants of those bloodlines. We have it in our DNA. And what we're experiencing for many generations in communication with our ancestors, the ancestors, nobody said they're only terrestrial ancestors. These are interdimensional ancestors that we are connecting with. And this you can corroborate that with the stories and that have been told through all the ancient civilizations through history. Whether it's Mayan, Incan, Toltec, Hopi, Hindis, Egyptians, you name it, all around the world, Druids have deep connections with interdimensional bloodlines, and they are described in specific ways to these lineages. So we hold that history in our DNA. Um, I do think that there are external programs that are very of a military nature that do target bloodlines that are more conscious and more activated. I do feel that humans that are extremely intuitive are highly targeted by these groups to be utilized and refracted in their agendas. Um, so in that case, the more parasitic groups, whether they're terrestrial programs which are connected to interdimensional bloodlines that are more parasitic, they do target certain bloodlines that have a lot of high vibrational mutations in their history. And they utilize that because when you're a high vibrational being that has a lot of contact and a lot of memory of contact, you are a super high frequency conduit and you're a portal. Your entire organism is a portal. You can remote view into different planets, different consciousness, different states and dimensions, and that's extremely valuable genetic data. When you hybridize that, you create children that are deeply portal-like beings as well. So it becomes a very valuable, and we also see that through these underlying eugenic programs that have existed in our human race through history. So yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And I love the way you break it down because you simplify it so easily for our audience. So thank you
Oh, that's
very
good.
much for that. I really appreciate that. Let's get to some audience questions here because I know you love answering some questions from them. So let's go to Sovereign with the most important question of the night. What's the status of your shoe collection and closet?
Shoe collection down to 2 pairs.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
Okay, 12.
Times 10.
No, not at all. Don't believe Dave when he says that.
I've seen your closet.
No,
It is
you haven't. No, you haven't. Not at all. In your dreams, maybe.
Well, okay, fine. Let's go over to Castle Dude over in the UK. Hi, Geraldine. Hope you're well. Have you had any paranormal happenings recently?
Yeah, I have a lot of contact all the time. As I mentioned, because my vision is open, I can see things all the time, really. And yeah, my life is, I have a practice that I'm doing hypnotherapy every day. So I work with clients from 9 to 6 p.m. every day, looking in their interdimensional realms. And with that kind of work, it basically opens up a portal for that information to come through. So there's contact all the time. And then in my own private life, in my own private workings, I have a lot of interdimensional awareness, powerful dreams, lucid dreams, healing other people in other dimensions, interacting with other beings. Just a lot of activity that is, something that I'm working on. So yeah, lots of stuff happening, lots of stuff.
Excellent. Okay. Sergeant wants to know, how do you get into your multi-dimensional body?
Yes, love that question, Sergeant Slackass. um, So, how do you get into your multidimensional body? Well, first of all, the fastest way to get into the multidimensional body is through the five senses. Okay, so I want you to practice bringing your body into absolute stillness and beginning to train yourself in your awareness of your five senses. And you're going to rotate the awareness of those five senses one by one: your sight, your taste, your smell, your hearing, your tasting, your feeling, your touching, and your sensing around your body. Feel the energy around your body, feel the air on your skin, feel the air on your clothing. Heighten your senses to that level of sensitivity. Okay. And when you train yourself to do that, the one that is observing all of those senses, that is the observer. That is the true self. This is the one that you want to train, and this is the one that will see the multidimensional body. The quickest way to train yourself to see the multidimensional body is by shrinking the first three chakras, opening the heart, the throat, and the third eye. You immediately shift the vortex of your body into a Merkaba-like state, which allows you to activate the awareness. It's called reading state of your multidimensional body. And from that state, begin to work on the layers of your body. You will notice that, you have a bubble around your body. You are a bubble. Essentially, you're a sphere. You're made up of many spheres. But as you tune into that, tune in to the layers of your sphere. What's going on there? Can you see the sphere? Is it broken? Is it so difficult to see the back of your body? That will tell you all about what's happening emotionally, physically, mentally, in your health, in your abundance, in your sexual life, in your relationships. It's all encoded inside of your energy body. So begin to explore this multidimensional body. Try to bring yourself into as whole of a sphere in all of its layers and expressions as you can. And if you need help on this, go to my YouTube channel. I have tons of videos that will guide you and explain in depth this information and the process. Thank you for asking, and I hope you reach out. I can help you more with that as well.
Okay, let's continue on here as we go to Mike. Geraldine, what do you prefer for meditation music?
You know what, dear Mike? Because of the level of sensitivity that I'm developing in this work, for me, using music for meditation is kind of extremely distracting. However, if you need to have music for meditation to help you quiet the mind, when I was, because I was ADHD, extremely ADHD, the technique of meditation that I use is called energy visualization. Okay. So I work really heavy on training the body to work on my energy body, and that helps me move away from distractions. Now, to get to that point, I suggest using binaural beats that can assist you in calming the brain waves into a really nice theta state, or an alpha state at the minimum. Also, grounding techniques is really important. Humming techniques, humming mantras that will help you come into heart-centeredness, like Om, for example. Either you are chanting that or you are listening to that will help center the body. And there are many hertz that you can utilize in order to help you come into grounding. If you connect to Earth's vibrational frequency, you can come into meditation super quickly, and that will help you kind of biohack the body into meditative state. Okay. But I'm a huge fan of using energetics in order to calm the body rather than music, because when you use the wrong hertz or the wrong frequency, it's going to be hard for you to get into meditation. And it's not your fault. It's just that you're busy processing these frequency sounds that your poor body has to, filter through in order to get to a quiet state. So just be very selective with that and try to get some beats, binaural waves and frequencies that bring you into as much of a deep state as possible, brain state.
Excellent. Excellent. T-Bone would like to know, what do they say you can't read in our dreams? I'm calling bull due to my own experiences. Can you read in your dreams?
Wow. Yeah. You know what? That's an interesting question. I've had many dreams in which books were presented to me with information, but to be honest, the way that I received the information was telepathically. However, I have had dreams of reading, so I also agree with you, T-Bone. I'm not sure I agree with that completely.
Me either. Okay, let's move on here. Let's go to Dino. What do you think is going to take place on the 8th? Because it's supposed to be that big lunar eclipse sort of thing.
Major transitions. Okay, you guys have to prepare yourself for major transitions. Number one part of this is that you are existing in integrity. Okay, integrity is a major part of this transition point. If you find yourself in situations in which you are not in alignment with, and the cosmic movement of how things are working is kind of like a puzzle piece. Your frequency will define where you fall into this piece right now, and it will define the next 3 months. But if you come into a low frequency, you're going to go through some major ups and downs, roller coaster situations in the next couple months. So please take time to connect with yourself and the choices that you're making. If you're making rush decisions that are abruptly made, that are not congruent in alignment with your core ethics, morals, spiritual laws of yourself, you will be in a state of suffering, because that's what it's for. The whole point of this year, that number 8 year of karmic endings, it's about ending karma, generations of karma. So you can't be repeating the same programs of suffering any longer. So please take the time to be aware of that, because we're building a new world here. Essentially, we are co-creating, we're kind of creating this new world here, and it's happening through the internal body, through the internal self. So please take time to do that. There's going to be major shifts economically, financially, politically in the world, and it's necessary. It's welcomed, because what we need to anchor in order to anchor something new, our discernment has to be very clear, in that our choices are for the collective, not self-serving, ego based survival mechanisms anymore. It's a different state of being. So please do take that in mind. I mean, we could talk for hours about that, but I will just leave it at that.
All right, let's move on to another question. And let's go this one to Vanessa, as we got 2 minutes to go here. How does one trust their intuition?
Excellent question. When it comes to the intuition, you want to train yourself to regulate the nervous system and try to come into as much non-judgmental practice as possible. Why? Because judgment is a really powerful mechanism that the human has. We actually immediately, as soon as we see something, we don't realize how much judgment we put towards that. It can be a color that you don't like, and you can, if you test yourself to look at a color that you don't like, notice what part of your body contracts, notice the part, your reactions, your engagement with that color. Okay, there's a lot of processes going on. Just that tiny exercise will help you understand the level of sensitivity that you play, the role that you play in the creation of your reality. So intuition, we might think is, a gut feeling, a strong hit, but this gut feeling, usually the first thing that comes to the mind is usually the one that is in alignment with what's best for you. If you start going into the analytical mind, if you start going into fears, emotions, anxieties, resistance, you're never going to be able to get a clear understanding of what you're tuning into. So for that reason, you have to create a clear vessel. Okay? Healing trauma, working with emotions, learning how to come into very observant state without reacting is absolutely essential to tune into your intuition. Close the first 3 chakras, open the top 3 chakras, run energy through the body, and tune in to what you're looking at from your crown, because your crown chakra is actually the center of manifestation, and it will help you tune into exactly what you need to see.
Geraldine Orozco, thanks for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. We'll talk to you next month. Geraldine's website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Coming up next, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing. Then Travis William Ustus, the pride of the Cree Nation, will be here for the Cryptid Report. Hour
You're
3 is
listening
released.
to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Beautiful show tonight, my friend. Beautiful show.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be here. Thank you again, everyone. Thank
All
you,
right.
Dave.
Much love, my friend. We'll talk
Much love.
soon.
See you
And we'll
soon.
see you soon, okay?
Bye. Mhm.
Bye. Geraldine Orozco, everybody. Take a quick break. I will be right back. All right. Got about a minute to go. Travis is in the hot seat. Blue Cruz, how you doing? Good times, people. Very good times. All right. Big thank you tonight to Cat Chaser. Good to see you back, Cat. And thank you for coming on in. Holy cow, T-Bone. Holy cow. Wow. Thank you, T-Bone. That is extremely way too generous. Way too generous. Thank you for the love. Wow. T-Bone with a hat trick. Aussie Ange. Aloha Dave. Cat Chaser again. Thank you for the wonderful super chats and the love and support, everybody. Wow. I'm blown away right now. Thank you. Here we go. Final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. This is Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Faneant. Faneant is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the night where we say hello to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and Another Creepy Story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. Mitty Rivers, a 74-year-old experienced outdoorsman, went missing on November 12, 1945, while hunting near Long Trail Road and Vermont Route 9. He was on a weekend hunting trip with 4 other hunters in the mountains and was familiar with the local area. Mitty and his son-in-law, Joe Lazon, walked together before reaching a fork. Mitty planned to separate from Joe, telling him he'd only be gone for a short distance before he would join them at camp for lunch. As 3 p.m. passed and still no sign of Mitty, the rest of the hunting party started searching before contacting the authorities. They conducted an extensive search, but the only evidence they found was a single rifle cartridge in a stream. The speculation was that Mitty might have leaned over and the cartridge had fallen out of his pocket into the water. So what happened to Mitty Rivers? Unfortunately, Mitty's body was never found and the case remains unsolved. With so many years past, we can only hope that what happened to Mitty will someday be revealed. Next up, Mark A. Strittmater. Mark A. Strittmater, a 44-year-old hunter, went missing on October 19, 2019, while hunting alone in Medicine Bow National Forest, Wyoming. Before entering the forest, he was last seen at a convenience store in Saratoga, Wyoming. His last communication was a text message sent to his girlfriend, Kimberly Meese, at around 11 a.m. on that same day. When he failed to return from the hunt, search teams were deployed and his truck was found on Forest Road 801. Mark's disappearance became one of Wyoming's most prominent missing person cases. An early season snowstorm hindered search efforts, which continued for over a week with no success. Another 3-day search in 2020 yielded no results. In November of 2020, the Carbon County Sheriff's Office released a news statement stating that a hunter had discovered Mark's binoculars. This discovery initiated the third round of searching, which involved a canine unit. The report mentioned that the search also yielded other items that could have belonged to Mark, but no remains were found. Then, on October 16, 2022, a group of hunters discovered a firearm concealed beneath some vegetation. The hunters immediately notified a game warden, who then informed the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. This discovery led to a series of searches by Carbon County officials and volunteers from the University of Wyoming's Department of Anthropology and the Wyoming State Archaeologist's Office. This led to finding human remains and personal belongings in the area located south of Rawlins. A member of one of the search parties said that the remains were 325 yards from where his team conducted their initial search efforts. The sheriff's office said the remains were confirmed as Mark Strittmater's through an examination that included known dental records. So, what happened to Mark Strittmater? Mark wore light clothing into the woods and was likely unprepared for the early season snowstorm. The most plausible explanation is that he succumbed to the harsh weather conditions. Next, Philip Carnell. Philip Carnell, a 58-year-old resident of Sikeston, Missouri, went missing on November 13, 2022, while hunting in the Ozark National Scenic Riverways near Cave Spring. He was dropped off in the area by a friend, but failed to return from hunting later in the day. Family and friends could not locate him and reported him missing. Emergency responders started searching the area for him that evening. Volunteers and emergency responders combed the area on foot, in vehicles, on horseback, and by boat. Aircraft and drones made multiple passes over the area, while dog teams were deployed to pick up scent trails. Philip's footprints, along with his gun and some of his gear, were found. After 2 intense days of searching, his body was found by volunteers on horseback. It's suspected that Philip became lost and crossed a slough onto a small island while tracking a deer. The coroner ruled that the condition of his body was consistent with hypothermia and exposure.
Thank you to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing for another great, weird story. Yeah, if you want more just like that, head on over to youtube.com/Among the Missing and just hit subscribe and ring that bell. From the missing to the mysterious, it's time for the Cryptid Report. From the Cree Nation, north of Edmonton, Alberta, we have Travis William Moostus. Travis William Moostus, it's always good to have you back on the show. You were out on assignment last week, couldn't be with us, but we're glad to have you back this week, my man. You're gonna have to change your audio or something because it is really muffled here, my friend. Really muffled, and yeah, I think your batteries might be dying on your headset. That's for sure. I think that is the issue. Let's try it the old-fashioned way. Can we do it this way?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine here with this. Yeah, I was busy taking care of a few things and also helping out with a few other like people were asking me to go help with setting up an office, and so I was building desks and things like that as well too. So I was busy doing other work, and then but like when I came to the Sunday there, I did have to go leave for kind of like a prayer kind of thing, and yeah, nice. It was very, very intense preparing for the what's ahead here.
Well, it's good to have you back here, my friend, because you're always entertaining and everything. You know, one of the things that caught my attention, I was thinking about having you on again tonight for the show, and around my house, forest fire number 1 already. And because it's very dry out, we didn't get enough snow. Now, thankfully, it is under control, and they're going to get it out here pretty darn quick. It didn't really explode into anything major, but how do the cryptids react when Mother Nature goes through its issues, whether it's forest fires or brutal winters or tornadoes, any type of natural disaster? What do they do?
Well, the ones that can go underground, and then the ones that go up the mountains go up into the mountains, and ones that can shapeshift or take flight can take flight. Others that can, slip into other dimensional realities, they do just that. Or, like I said, they can vacate to the next area or location wherever they want to go. And there's a lot of places to go. So,
Okay, so I want to follow that up here for a quick second because, you know, if they have the ability to leave, I know with regular animals, if we could call them regular animals, that people do know of, deer and bears and all sorts of wild cats. Okay, the minute they sense something is going on with Mother Nature, they get the hell out of Dodge. Are the cryptids the same way?
oh yes, they're like most of the time, yeah, they're able to just get out of there or go to another location and find a safe place to go, and they've done that throughout time and time again, especially when there would be like huge natural wildfires or things that would scorch the earth and kind of like wipe out all life on on the planet kind of deal. A lot of these beings, like the Thunderbird, was able just to fly in the sky and take flight and continue surviving throughout the years in that time, from the prehistoric era, from the dinosaurs wipeout situation.
Really? Okay. So, going back, if these creatures have been here for a long time, let's say millennia, what about like volcanoes, like down at Mount St. Helens when it blew up in 1980? There was talks that and stories and rumors that there were Sasquatch that were found by the bodies and they were being hauled out by helicopters and everything. I don't know if you ever heard that or not, but I mean, during natural disasters like that, do they come to rescue? Do they come for help? Like we've seen animals that, in Australia, there's that famous film during their wildfires a few years ago where a koala bear was walking up to a firefighter to get some water, and he was feeding them out of a bottle of water. Does that happen?
Oh yeah, that the time when the fire was real close to our area, I had all sorts of deer and all sorts of birds. Like I had like a little army of birds I was feeding. I was just buying seeds because I felt bad. And I had bird feeders outside, so I just started like stocking up on seeds for them. And yeah, like I said, I had like hundreds of birds and like I said, like there was coyotes and deer and all sorts of animals that were near my area that were just kind of like taking refuge. And I was like, all right, so that's how I know that when they're around, like I know that it's still safe, like, you know what I mean? Like it's still good to be around here, right? Because a lot of my other family, they just took off and I was just kind of like the one still out here and kind of seeing if it was gonna, like we were gonna get like, kind of soldiered out or whatever, right? Because that's what happened to a few towns down from us. Like people were getting soldiered out and kind of barricaded out and whatnot. So yeah, there was like a lot of that going on, right? So I was just waiting to see myself. So, but
All right, as we start to get more into spring here and the weather starts turning and it gets warmer and the food sources are starting to come around and the nature is coming more alive each and every day and animals are migrating back to their areas, because I know I'm within a few weeks of the pelicans arriving here. Yeah, believe it or not, middle of British Columbia, we get pelicans because this is their breeding area, and it's actually kind of cool to see them on the local lakes. However, my question to you is, as that starts to happen, how do the cryptids start preparing for that time of transition?
well, from what I've told was they're able to just slip in, like for Bigfoots, they're able to just slip into the other reality and they can take whatever they want with them. This includes like the little people are able to do the same thing and enter their reality, and then there are some that like I said, they go underground or they shapeshift into different type of things that can survive, and it's kind of or they take the rivers and they follow the waters, and it's there's a lot of things that they do to prepare, and it's like and for most of the Bigfoots though, they do go to the mountains and they do take to the caves and inner dwellings like that. And for a lot of the animals though, it's like relocating and just finding another area that they can, I guess, survive and live off for the time being. It's usually what happens.
Okay, so following that up, as the cryptids start to come out and play, and now we're getting into season where people are going to be spending more time in the forest and in nature, whether it's camping, hiking, geocaching, whatever it may be. Okay, fishing, going to find that desolate lake that nobody goes to so you could get the big trophy fish. I'm wondering, as that goes on with the cryptids, do they get more curious for what humanity is doing at that time?
Well, if they're in their area, yeah, they do, and then they watch. Most of the time, they don't mind the taking one situation or the hunters, like, as they'll let people go out and they'll hunt. They know people hunt. Like, it's been a thing since we've been roaming out here, right? So it's kind of been like they understand that. And same thing with so I remember you brought up a question about like them taking a cow, and yeah, it's just like, they just took things like that. And same thing with the ETs, they're able just to go and just beam them up. From what the elders told me, they'll just take a bunch of them and leave a whole field empty, and farmers, are told about it and things like that. But so what I was getting back to is, with the cryptids though, they'll follow the animals and where they go, and say if they have to vacate the area, they'll follow them because they're hunting them, right? And the predator ones and the ones that want to eat them, right? And so Sasquatches tend to have areas that are like already, like, they know where to go and they know where to keep safe if something is going wrong. They already have these little places that they could slip into and take I should say hideaway. It's like it's a level of frequency, level of spirituality, level of reality that they're able to I should say connect with and harness and go into. Same thing with the little people. They're able to connect with within these dimensional levels and slip into them, and take people too. Like, they're able to take people and bring them into those dimensional realms if they wanted to, or other animals or things if they want to, in that sense. So, and that's where a lot of these animals go in time. And yeah, it's there's and then they come back, and people are wondering where they come back from.
Okay, so as we move that forward and move out of all the cases that you have had, how many times have you had situations where the paranormal interacted with the cryptid sightings and the cryptid reports?
Yeah, they're like, we always hear about deers and different kind of like animals that have been like torn apart, or find even find wolves or things like that were just like destroyed, and we look around and make sure, like, looking for bears or anything, right? Like something that's obviously more, even a cougar or whatever, or listen for it or look for any type of and just there's like usually if we find something that's very strange, then we'll be like, well, okay, look at this, like there's no human, it doesn't look too human, like this looks just absolutely like mauled, or different things like that. Then we'll make note of that, or if we come across it, and we'll know something's a little bit up or different. That's one way. Other than that is you'll find tracks, and and then just you'll follow, and they're gone. Sometimes it's a spirit animal taking dimensional travel, or one of those spiritual beings that are just connected with the animal world and spirit world, and they still walk in those dimensions in between. And they're more safer, like they're safe dimensions, like their travel is safe because it's really connected with the earth and the planetary connection and the universal connection. So it's on a very highlighted heightened level and higher dimensional level. So it's very much protected. Whereas like people trying to do technologically, warp dimensional travel, it usually tends to lead to darker realities, and very unsafe because humans don't know how to protect their technology from such dimensions yet, and so it leaves it to be very dangerous. And that's just a reality there. It was ruled out that technology and spiritual don't ever mix together. I mean, we still don't take like video cameras or things into our lodges, and you keep all that stuff away, and we go in as a human. Like we go as humans, and not we don't take any of that stuff with us. Like it's a very unique thing, right? And it's a very important law that we all should pay attention to. But I figured I'd mention that. But yeah, anyway.
We got 3.5 minutes to go here before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Travis William Mustus is here for the Cryptid Report. Travis, you mentioned the dangers of it. What kind of dangers can one face?
Technology, especially like entities we don't fully control, can become manipulated and may turn against us, or possibly may not have the same wants or things that we want to gravitate to, may not have the same like agenda, I should say, like as human agenda, I should say, may not be pro-human at all. That's all I'm saying.
So how do you protect yourself?
Well, normally we don't evolve a lot of technology with that kind of level. Like I said, it's not really it's not allowed. Like it wasn't really allowed to be so we always did it naturally, or it was always connection through the earth and always through the portal, like the suns and the universe, and like the different kind of connections throughout the universe was always a key thing, right? And a lot of this technology is very unaimed and very it's not very like I said, it's not protected in that sense from the travel.
But okay, so when these types of situations, paranormal versus the cryptids, or I don't even know if you could call it a competition or anything, or one versus the other, but do they come in conjunction with themselves because it's all one spiritual plane?
Well, there's a balance, right? There's a balance in between it all, and that separates that lower frequency and the higher frequency. And the technology we use is very open and very we don't have a control on whether or not it's gonna stay with us if it turns to a darker or lower frequency. You know what I mean? And that's the scary part about it. That's all I'm saying. But if it was to take a like a god or like a connection to the higher energy, right? Like it takes that kind of light to the path of light, then then things could look hopeful and generate possible realities and things that advancements into those dimensional realities we all talk about. And but if they're trying to do that, like I said, it's very dangerous technology, and just throughout the ages, it's always been ruled out. They were never supposed to mix like that, like in that sense. But
okay, so for yourself, how do you investigate that? We got 1 minute to go here. How does it change your investigation technique?
Well, with when it comes to like lodges and like say like sweat lodges or any kind of like star lodges or any there are certain respects that go into it. Like I won't bring technology with me for any of that, but say like certain other ceremonies, I could ask if that's allowed to take a photo of this or this, and the people will let me know which ones. But other than that, but like for investigations with like say like a different area, like I said, it helps with it does help because they do affect that technology, and you do see things, and it does help out with that. But normally most of the time we never used it. We never ever used technology to capture them on camera or video. We just went in with our natural ways and cleared out things in that sense. We never really...
Hold on right there, Travis. Travis William Mustus, the Cryptid Report from the Cree Nation, north of Edmonton, Alberta. Talking monsters, paranormal spirits.
This is Spaced Out Radio, and your host, Dave Scott.
We'll be right back. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it.
It's not impossible, like because like a lot of the ETs use the higher dimensional travel, ultra terrestrial travel, and we have to evolve to the point where we can understand that and respect that level of connection and that higher existence, because I think it can go either way with that right now at this time. So it's very important, right? That's all I wanted to mention.
Got it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Excuse me.
But yeah, I can't, like I said, I've been getting back into the forest and checking out some things, looking for a lot of different stuff I can find out there at this time for, what is necessary in this moment of the universe. But yeah, it's
Is all your snow gone?
most of it. A lot of the deeper parts of the forest still have like beds of snow in them and whatnot. So give it like another week. It's been raining, so that helps. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, up here, certain areas are just absolutely bone dry already. It's kind of scary in a way. Kind of scary in a way, but excuse me. All right. You got yourself on mute.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just taking a nice little chug of water, but yeah, no, it's been great in terms of getting these books done. I've been doing that too, right? So the Mars Bug Wars is out there. It's available now.
Nice.
Yes.
Love it. Love
Figured
it.
I'd show that.
Been getting any aliens lately?
You know what? I've gotten a few strange but too far out, to get it on camera. But they were going by. One stopped and then one kept going like that. Like it just went straight across, and it was coming from the east. Yeah. Sorry, from the west heading east over, southwest heading southeast, like just straight across the sky. But it stopped halfway and it just kept going. And then we had another plane that flew over that looked very interesting, very strange looking plane. It had a, unique set of lights. I managed to take some pictures, but they were they were kind of like a diamond, like a diamond formation. So like one on the top, one on the back wing, one on the sides. Like I think it was like a little biplane, and it had a little red light blinking in the middle. And so I was like, okay, yeah, and you can hear it too, like from the sky. So I was like, okay, so there we go, we got one of those, and go flying around. So now I know what that looks like and what what it sounds like at this hour, what I mean, kind of deal. And because it's probably melted enough for them to get the runway clear, and probably took it for a ride or whatever, right? So there's that.
Nice.
Yeah. So just getting familiar with all the stars. The stars are looking beautiful again. Like I said, just looking at all the it's because it's all clear, and getting used to all this what's going by, and what's around, I should say, what constellations are where and what, but
wow. Yeah, I haven't we haven't had a lot of clear nights lately.
Yeah, I can only imagine with that out there going on. And the start there were, well, like you said, it's getting controlled, so that's good to hear about the fire getting controlled, because you don't want it burning too much, but guaranteed probably definitely give it like 20 years and there'll be a bunch of new trees there and whatever going on. We had a couple bad fires near my area. Like that's how come I know about this, like like across the country kind of fires. And then they grew back within like I said, about 20 years, 15 years or so.
Very awesome.
Yeah,
very awesome.
Always that new growth, right? So figured I mentioned that.
We got about 45 seconds here. So thank you tonight to T-Bone with the mega super chats with a hat trick of them. That's awesome. Thank you. Aloha Dave, Ozzy Ange, Cat Chaser. Thank you very much for the love tonight, guys. It's so appreciated on this end. And big thank you to everybody who's shopped recently at our Spaced Out Radio store, where there is no ugly swag, none whatsoever. Yeah, we appreciate that. Just take some pictures and send them to me of you showing off your gear out in public. Here we go, everybody. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. We're having a great time with Travis William Moostus on the Cryptid Report. Yeah, but we got so much more going on. Like reminding you that you could always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Final time, Travis William Moostus is here. He is a monster hunter from the Cree Nation, just north of Edmonton, Alberta, and he is here to hang out with us to tell us some creepy tales of monsters and legends. Travis, welcome back.
Yes, it feels great to be back, and thanks for having me back here, man. Like I said, it's been a great chat so far, Dave, and excellent questions so far, man. It's been great.
All right. You've recently getting a little feedback. I'll get you to just mute up there for a second. You recently have had some UFO sightings, and I think that's very exciting because my last UFO that I saw was about 2 weeks ago. It was pretty remarkable. It was a pair of them, and satellites fly in straight motion. They don't usually make half a semicircle, a semicircle, and the one took a semicircle, then disappeared, and then the second one followed right underneath it. It was actually kind of cool. It was within split seconds of each other, so I really enjoyed that. But my question to you is, are you, as much as we're seeing UFOs in the sky, are we seeing more extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence on the ground?
On the ground, as of they're always around. They have always been around, and some of them, like I said, most of them are just able to pop in from their dimensional reality. If they're able to, especially if they're right next to ours and just a higher up frequency, and they just tone down and they're right here. That's how some of them just appear in the sky, and like I said, some of them just come down into our sweat lodges, and they'll just be able to use an orb and our light and able to teleport there or be there in that form of energy. And I feel like they're always around, and it's something that we should be getting used to at this point.
Many people, though, are saying right now, and talking to my friend Samantha Mowat, that the ETs are, as much as they may be around, they're not making themselves as present as they normally do.
It all depends. Like for a lot of people that are on a very intuitive level, and you're doing a lot of your meditations and things. A lot of people are meeting them on weekly basis, or depending on how much they actually do the travel or go for the adventures, right, and see them and make those connections. They're always around, right? And as for extraterrestrials as being like on the ground and meeting people or visiting people, it's very it's a unique time. I feel like I said, it's happening through intuition, and these connections are being made so that they can just be here with among us, because it's still a big thing for people. Like they think right away like space war, or like it's still for them it's a big thing. another species out there and they don't know how to take it, right? Like how to really interpret that thought or that feeling just yet. So it's still like I said, it's still happening with people and making that connection, because a lot of them, a lot of the spirit guides and spirit journeys is through them, and we must understand that it is a big connection to the universe, and it plays a very important role for all of us, and our existence amongst them and with them, and on that spiritual level and plane. And like I said, so when we can open that all together and be that and understand that, then we can all make those advancements as society together, and can probably achieve that type of travel. I'm just saying, in the future has yet to be written.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because we have a lot of people asking about their concerns regarding this eclipse that's going to be happening on the 8th, and a lot of people are concerned, and one of our listeners is asking what your elders from your Cree Nation are saying. This is Dino in the chat room asking about what the Cree elders are saying about this upcoming eclipse.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of I've asked a few questions and a lot of feedback towards well, when the sun it goes out and it comes back, and it's like it dies and it comes back to life. So it's a renewal. It's a time of like honoring that connection to the sun and our ancestors, and that ancient grandfather connection, and grandmother connection. And I should say that when it goes out, that's like that's our time to be praying, and our time to be letting go of all the negative things in our life, or things that have been like holding us back in our spiritual journeys, and opening up to the brightness of that new light that's going to guide us forward into that direction that we're manifesting, or I should say being guided towards, or that universal path that's opening up for us. So it's a very beautiful time, and time of renewal, and the time of connecting with that and on that level.
Right on. All right. Now, is there any spiritual or cosmic interference that happens during eclipses? Does it enhance any sort of contact?
Yes. A lot of times we're told not to look at the sun, or even like use technology to look at the sun, because that can make you very sick, or spirits can attach to you and bring bad things into your life, or bad like they can possess you, or things like it was that sense. But it wasn't like we're not one to judge anyone who does that. We don't judge our people, don't judge that. So if people want to do that, that's on them to do. And but we're told never to look at the sun. We can go blind, and we're told not to like I said, use technology to see it, because it could let in the bad ones. And that's one of those things that I was going to lead on to. So a lot of my astral travel people, when we do these missions and stuff like that, a lot of times will be brought to through the spiritual, like it'll be a connection, will be brought to these times and CERN's acting in, and they're doing their things. And when they do that, they open a lot of portals that let in a lot of negative beings. And so we usually clear them off from the spirit level, the grid, or we'll shut it down, like in that sense. But there's a lot of that going on. So that's why I always try to warn people about those kind of like technological doorways that people tend to open up, and they're not aware that it's a lot of these things are already happening even in their technology right now.
Now, Travis, we know you as a monster hunter on this show, that it's part of your job to protect your people, which I think is absolutely awesome. Do you have a team that works along with you? I've never asked you that.
Yeah, there's like it all depends on the elders that are, like I said, are within the area, or that I ask for the help from. But over the years, it's always been like my older family. My uncle was one who was always doing a lot of the house clearing, so I learned a lot from him, and a few other elder women that were part of the I should say the circle, and they were able to do very interesting clearings with when it came to houses and stuff. So I was taught a lot of that, and and like also too like spiritual attachments, like to remove those and things. And but yeah, given the right knowledge to keep a lot of the land safe and build things to make spiritual barriers to keep people safe and keep the negative energies away from our lands and areas. And yeah, there's been a lot of that over the years. And yeah, just like everything, like it's been keeping that reality of our traditions alive, right? And so yeah, I've had a lot of experience with different things.
Do you prefer to work alone in what you do as a monster hunter, or do you feel you need a team around you that really helps out with the spirituality and the protection?
Yeah, if somebody can handle the if they have the right mind and they can handle the situation. And yeah, I've had a few people that been along with me. Usually I'll have the experiencer there when I'm doing the initial investigation, just so they can see like how I'm doing conducting it, and how I'm making my correction, or I should say like my notes, and how I'm checking, making off the making sure that it's a spiritual entity or not, right? And they're there through the process. So then, the one dude that was, asking me to check out his place, he's like, wow, okay, yeah, now I get it. Okay, so I'm not going crazy, right? He called me in just to make sure he wasn't losing it, kind of deal, right? And he was like, yeah, every time I come home from work and I have a couple brewskis, and next thing you know, things start falling around, or things start sounding like they're downstairs, and so I'm like, okay. And or they're waking me up at night, he'd say, like talking or something. So I was like, all right. And he thought he was hearing voices and everything, right? So being there, and yeah, the K2 meter was just going off, and we had we did try the radio out, right? Because it was a part of that. But when I was in there, just smudging the and being around the everything else was it just seemed like to everything got a little bit more active, and it kind of was like clearing it out, right? So that's how we're like, okay, yeah, this was broad daylight too. We did it. It wasn't like nighttime or anything. This was like broad daylight. So, and things are acting up and going wild, and I'm like, okay, and so let's do a little history check of the land and the area. And so we're looking at a lot of old maps, and seeing a lot of different like rivers and streams that ran through under his property. And I was like, well, there you go. There it is. That's like a spiritual highway your house is built on right now. You know what I mean? So they're coming through here all the time, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, this is, there you go, And so he felt a little vindicated about the whole situation. And since then he's been keeping clear, and the place has been more safe, and like things haven't been getting out of hand or anything, right? But yeah, it just took a little bit of like honest, investigation and location of understanding the history of the location, and just getting a feel for the house and the situation. Like if it was anything more malice, like things would have started getting way worse. Things would have started falling over. Maybe walls would have started cracking, or windows breaking, or we'd hear darker sounds of darker entities, running around the walls and doing stuff like that, smashing doors and shaking things. And,
Spiritually speaking, how do you protect yourself from any spells or weaponry that might be used against you?
Well, you wear if it's needed, you wear the correct blessed kind of armor, or are you taking the blessed weapons, or the things like just certain plants and different things like in life, like that may help, like that are asked, like because usually you go and ask for that help or that understanding to know what to do, right, and how to fight it or how to deal with it. And usually you only take what's needed. You don't just take like, I'm going to be bringing all this extra, but it's like you just take what's needed, and that's usually what you use to deal with it. But a lot of times, like for people, it's you got to use a lot of different kind of like sages and smudges and different kind of if for people like even drumming and rattle music and building of certain little even dream catchers used to be a thing, but people used to build like honestly, we had these like outside of everyone's teepee in the old days, you'd have your spear, and then you'd have your shield on it, and that would tell who you were on your shield, and people know your spear because nobody brought weapons into the teepee. So, and you'd hang your skull on your buffalo skull for protection, and that shield would be your protection for your home. You know what I mean? So like people used to build these things outside their home and to keep their house safe, and you still do. Like I can go outside and take a picture of next door neighbors. They have a deer skull and a few things outside their home still to this day, and that's just like the hunter's way of keeping the home safe. And it was always a practice to keep your things like clean and tidy, and so it's like so there's not that energy of being cluttered or being kept around, or you know what I mean, like that kind of festering energy. So keeping things clean and organized helped with a lot of just natural flowing of energy and things. And so there's that, right? And then people were always connected with the earth and with the sun, and they kept that groundedness, and that's another way of keeping protected. And because it's when you get lost and you start to vibrate on lower levels that these entities start to get in and manipulate your emotions and manipulate how you act and manipulate who you are. You might be doing really well, and then all of a sudden you're feeling sad. You don't know why you're depressed, and these entities like are just feeding off of your vibes, your energy, and it's literally on that frequency level. But most of the time people are able to ground themselves, and they're doing that natural clearing. Even Reiki works on a lot of these things, and like on that level of energy cleansing. But if people just like are able to connect with that energy of light and really bring it into themselves, and really I should say emanate it out in everything, in all aspects that they do, and that light just begins to become an ocean and flow out.
Have you ever had a case where you have had to call in a shaman to help you cleanse an area or to get rid of a spirit?
Sometimes I'll call in for help, and most of the time it's a rare occasion that they'll actually come. But most of the time it's like just the added extra prayers and sometimes it will be the lodge ceremony that will be more important to be there, like a sweat lodge praying and getting that guidance is more like on that level. But like say if it's a family member, say if it's like a spiritual attachment and it's like a close family member, I will ask for help and things like that, and because it can get pretty tricky when it comes to things like that, especially with family. Because like if you try to heal, say you're someone that you truly love, you may just take that whole thing and and possibly die from that or whatever. And that's just reality there.
All right, Dino wants to know, coming from your heritage and background, what do you think of all the flat earthers out there?
I feel like it's a psyop that's led through ignorance, and that it's really there's really not a lot of like evidence that backs that up, right? And I know this to be reality. Like I said, our people knew for thousands of years, and throughout the ages, it was always said like our connections with the star people and star nations allowed us to understand that a lot of the stars are round like the circle, and round like us, like around our planet and like the sun, and even like our universe was turning around like a circle, and we were always, like I said, even everything that we do, we built our teepee in a circle, we danced in circles, and it was like that because even when the raindrops hit the water, it left little raindrop circles. And we even seen it in reality with the animals. They built their nests in circles, and it's a lot of different things that are connecting to that. But what it all means is that the animals and us and planets and stars were all one and the same, and we see through these circles, I should say, too, right? And but it's the circle of life, and and that's part of what it is, right? And so we always knew that the planet was round like that and quite large, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the flat earther. I tend to believe that the earth is round and that we've actually gone to the moon. But who am I? We've got 2 minutes left with you tonight in a show that's just flown on by. Travis, what's your advice for people if they go seeking the paranormal or the supernatural?
Enlighten yourself and have an open mind to the reality, and allow yourself to learn and experience, and then and take what is necessary that works in this reality for you in this existence, and really flow with that, and flow with that time and that connection, and it will lead you to more things along the path. It's like, like the stars, and it's just like, they're just little pockets of information and knowledge, and we're just going to one star to the next star, and until we just become a light of an ocean, right? And that's what it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And as people start to explore nature a little bit more, since it is that time of year, once again, you're always telling them, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's out there.
Yeah, it can get dangerous. There's all sorts of like little pockets in the land, and all sorts of interesting, drops and falls, and the land gets, it changes in terrain. So you always got to keep an eye out and mark your location where you go, because even 10 steps away from where you thought you knew, you can completely lose just turning around. So it's very important to carry like red tape or marking tape, or anything that you can make like a little thing or something that you can follow your trail back, because that's very important. And also too, letting people know where you're going, and if you can take someone with you. I always do. I always take people in the woods. That's another thing too I was going to say. When I do investigations in the woods, I always take people with me. I prefer that, because I want somebody there to witness this as well, you know what I mean, and or be there to help me if it is something that I might need help with. But that's I just wanted to mention that. Thank you for your time,
Travis,
Dave.
thank you for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. It's always a great time when we have you here, my friend, and that's why we bring you back all the time for the Cryptid Report. Always a good story with Travis William-Moostus of the Cree Nation, just north of Edmonton, Alberta. What a great guy he is. As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAM, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. We are clear. We are clear.
There we go. Right on, Dave.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll, buddy. That's what you bring to the table. Good to have you doing that, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate all the time we share here in this, moments of the universe, and so thankful for all the viewers out there. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me go off on these wonderful questions, and thank you for all the wonderful questions out there. And it's been a blast, Dave. Thanks so much for the time. I'll catch you around next time, brother.
Absolutely, buddy. Have a great night.
Yeah.
All right. Travis Villiers Mustus. There he goes, off into the yonder. Going to chase down some monsters right there. Who's on the show tomorrow night? Karen A. Dahlman, talking to spirits. Might get into a little bit of Ouija board stuff tomorrow night. It's always a good time with Karen A. Dahlman. Always a good time. Dahlman, not dolphin. Dahlman. There we go. All right, guys. A big thank you tonight to T-Bone with a hat trick, an amazing super chat. Thank you, T-Bone, again. Aloha, Dave, Ozzy Ange, Cat Chaser. I'm going to cut this short tonight, but big thank you to all of you. We'll see you tomorrow night. Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell, and tell everybody where they can find us. See you soon, everyone.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.